Okay, today we are playing a game on the Horizon Lunar Colony. The average SR of this game was 2,777, and we will be playing Mercy the entire way through. And our current team composition is D.Va, Orisa, McCree, Torbjorn, Lucio, and Mercy. Some people will see Torbjorn and turn their nose up at it, but we're on Horizon. In my experience, the Torbjorn-Orisa combo, surprisingly effective on Horizon in most cases. So, I actually don't have any issue with the team comp at all. So, we're just gonna start the game. So, we do all elect to stand up here on the high ground. Orisa is also up here with us. Here's Orisa. So, here's the thing with Horizon. Also, you might have noticed from the timeline, this is a really long game. This was only this person's second time playing on Horizon ever, so I hope you enjoy the map. It's fantastic, isn't it? I love Horizon. What a wonderful introduction. So, here's the thing with the high ground on Horizon. Conventional wisdom, high ground is really fucking overpowered. Master Obi-Wan Kenobi taught us this, and we do our best to follow his teachings. I find that it is actually a trap on Horizon, because the enemy can just go under you, or they can go around like so. And if they choose to do that, they get onto the point, and now, even though we're the defending team, we have to go back to meet them, but now we have to advance into them because they're on the point and we're not. So even though we're the defending team, we have to kind of attack them. So I find, you know, you can have like a couple people up here, but having the majority of your team up here tends to end in sadness. Also, Torbjorn's set up on the point, as is to be expected in the window. Orisa's up here. They're kind of meant to just like be together, and like Orisa basically pockets the Torbjorn. Which is more annoying to deal with than you might initially expect, honestly. Especially if your team doesn't want to actually work to counter it, which is, you know, very dependent on the game, obviously. But I find the high ground is actually a trap, because it's kind of too easy to circumnavigate it, unless you can dish out like an insane amount of pressure as they're trying to move in, but I find that is very hard to do. So, we are going to start the game now. We are defending first, as you may have noticed, seeing as we're on the defending side of the map. So we've fallen off the high ground, and we don't manage to Guardian Angel back up. So the enemy team is in fact choosing to come around the left-hand side, right-hand side from our perspective. So, here goes the cat. There goes the cat. Goodbye, cat. Cat's gone now. So, now we have to kind of come back and meet them. Torbjorn's already dead, because he was on the point back here by himself, and he's been killed now. So now, D.Va also immediately loses her mech, and Reaper is about to kill our entire team, basically. D.Va's also about to lose her life. We're sitting back, we're as far back as we can be, like, we're doing pretty much everything we can. Reaper's going in on the McCree here, not much we can do about that, because he basically gets one shot. So, we've lost this point. Reaper has now spotted us. The only person here to try and help us is Orisa. Orisa is not going to be able to stop us from being killed by Reaper. So that's the risk with Horizon. If they just come around the other side quickly enough, well, shit, now we have to rotate really quickly to meet them. Oh, shit, they killed someone by the time we even got there. Then D.Va lost her mech. Oh, it just all fell apart really quickly. So the fear now is Reaper killed just about everyone, don't forget. So Reaper has definitely got his ultimate. And the scary thing in general when you get rolled over so decisively is they come in and try to snowball it now, because some of them are going to be having ultimates and we're going to have no ultimates. We do indeed have no ultimates, and they have some ultimates. So the scary thing now is we get straight snowballed. Bare minimum, we know Reaper has his ultimate. So we hope that our D.Va can block the Death Blossom when it comes in, because that's very scary. So we're hanging out up here. We expect the enemy team to come this way initially, at least, so we hang out up here. They actually don't. They actually come around the right-hand side again. Left-hand side from their perspective. I should just say, I don't know why I feel the need to do that. I've never really felt the need to specify perspectives before, but for some reason I'm doing it today. So, they're coming in over here. They're all over there. So, basically, this is the wrong tool. This is the highlighter, not the pen. They are all over here. So, we don't want to go anywhere near that. We're standing in the best place we could possibly be. We do feel that we have to jump down, though, because McCree starts going off a little bit ahead, and we feel like we have to go over, because we're going to get left behind. McCree could just be standing up there with us. Like, I don't know why McCree has jumped down here, but whatever, we're not playing McCree. So, here's the thing. We're gonna get fucked really badly in a couple seconds. Here comes Winston. Reaper's also with him. there's really no option. By the time that you know you're in danger, it's already too late, really, because now the only option is to go over here, and that's just into more danger. So even if we didn't get killed by Reaper, we probably die coming over here regardless, because we're going into the rest of their team. So we look at that and we go, okay, there's no way you can get out of it from that position. So then the only thing you can really do is go further back and go, how could I have never even been in that position to begin with, seeing as there was no way out of it? So, the first mistake is more important than the last mistake. So we go back and we see, basically the point, as soon as you get off the high ground, you're pretty much fucked, because that's when they come in and try and get you. So, you are in a group with these people, so you can yell for them to come back. Like, you can yell for McCree to come back because you can't reach him and you don't want to come down because then you're going closer to the danger. McCree should just be up here as well, honestly. I don't know why he felt the need to jump down either. By the time we jump down, like, it's already too late because that's already happening over there and we've got no one to go to that is safe, right? Because they're all closer to the enemy team. So, the only way you don't die here is if you stay on the high ground, basically. And, so Soldier also has his ultimate. Death Blossom has happened. They are indeed snowballing over us with ultimates right now, which is always the fear when you get bowled over so decisively. So, I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to go and touch the point. You have to go and try to touch the point because, someone has to. They're not going to make it in time. You were the only one alive for a little bit, so you have to keep going forward to try and touch it. Oh my god, I'm just suddenly dying. Like, I know you don't want to. No one wants to, and we all know you're probably gonna die immediately. But, you have to try, basically. So, now we're attacking. We probably not feeling too good about that one, seeing as we got rolled over quite decisively. This is, like, really low quality, isn't it? We can go better than this. Yeah, we can do way better than this. What have I been doing with my life? Come on. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Oh, we've just been sitting here watching like we're on a fucking potato for no reason. Jesus Christ, my apologies. I'm not gonna redo it, though, because I've already started this one over like 3 fucking times for like minute fucking reasons. So we're doing it live. We're doing it live today. So, Winston is behind us right now, which, a little bit suboptimal, if I were to say. And basically by the time he's on us, it's already too late as well, because, well, what are we gonna do? Our only option is to go forward, because that's where the rest of our team is, because we're back. Oh shit, it's Winston. So really, like, well, we do go into him a little bit more, which we don't want to do. We kind of probably didn't even realize he was there for a second, because he does just sort of drop in very unexpectedly. We Guardian Angel forward more into him, and then he catches a glimpse of us, and he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna get this Mercy, and he doesn't need to get the Mercy. If you don't GA forward, maybe you don't get killed, but, the only way your team doesn't rotate quickly enough to kill him and try to help you, so pretty fucked, basically. This is often the case with Mercy, and I find this is often the case with Mercy on Horizon, because, you get forced in to a lot of areas on Horizon. It's a very confined map, being a space station and all. So I find that, if someone gets onto you, it's kinda already too late unless you have somebody that's in a convenient location to jump to. So I find Mercy very difficult to play on Horizon. You basically have to be, like, more vigilant of danger. So we have jumped across there. Very scary to just sort of jump right across the middle right like that, but, you know, didn't have too many options. So D.Va went down there underneath us. There was a large health kit down there, and we didn't really wanna go down to try and heal her, because then we'd be in a scarier location, which we don't want to do. So our team's going in. We've been up here with this McCree for a little while. Now we're coming over here. Reinhardt's, oh, I wouldn't GA up to him, because now you're in really deep, and now it's really scary, and oh, fuck. Soldier's using tac visor. Like, it wasn't urgent enough that you have to GA over to the guy, and it just puts you in a really scary location. Come on. Come on, YouTube. I'll have my new keyboard tomorrow, so I'll just be able to push hopefully anyway. So I'll just be able to push the back arrow, and we won't have to, like, fucking trace things out. It'll be great. So, like, this is not urgent enough. Like, he's not even half HP yet. You don't have to come over here to help this guy. And now you're just in a really scary location. Granted, Winston was coming up behind you as well, we know now. So you might have had to do it anyway, but now we're just in really deep, and it's like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Oh fuck, well now Winston's still here, and we're just trying to GA back and forth between people. I wouldn't GA into the Reinhardt. Probably would have had to do it, seeing as Winston does come up behind the team, but didn't need to do it at that present moment. Reinhardt wasn't that urgently fucked up. He wasn't even half HP, so he wasn't even really fucked up. So now we have a Reaper, which is good news, because one of our DPS is Hanzo, so that kind of sucks. You know, he's not going to do much to help us with the Winston. And Winston so far has been causing us, specifically at least, a lot of trouble. So we're glad to have someone that maybe will kill the Winston. We are in a pre-made with a bunch of these people, so like, you can try and be like, you know, can y'all get this fucking Winston off my face? But none of them are anybody that's going to kill Winston particularly quickly, so hit or miss. Really, when Winston gets on you and you're playing Mercy, it tends to feel very bad. Unless you have Reaper or Doomfist who is actually like making some kind of effort to protect you. Which is also very rare, of course, but, you know. That's it's an interesting paradox climbing up higher, because Mercy kind of gets easier to play and she kind of gets harder to play, because the higher you get, the more the enemy team will know to focus Mercy, but also the more your team will know they have to try and protect Mercy. So it kind of gets easier, but it kind of gets harder at the same time. It's very odd. Some games you don't have to worry about fucking anything because, like, somebody actually tries to help you. And if just one person is trying to help you, it's like fucking night and day, honestly. But, you know, very depends on the game, obviously. So Hanzo's just used his ultimate. And, doesn't look like it's gotten too terribly much done. It actually killed Lucio, never mind, fuck me, I suppose, how dare I. Now, Orisa also dead. Winston coming right at us in Primal Rage. I would have advanced in a little bit further, because you don't want to risk getting pinned into a corner by the Primal Rage Winston. And D.Va threw her ultimate in, so he would be hesitant to actually chase us in. Because I've gone back way too far, obviously, we're getting there now. See, he's gone Primal Rage. I wouldn't hang out here for risk of being, like, batted into a room out of the way and killed by him. So I would have just gone in quicker, but we do go in anyway, so I would have just kept going forward, rather than stopping at the door. But at the same time, most of their team is dead right now, so it also doesn't really matter too terribly much. Did hear their Torbjorn use Molten Core, but it doesn't look like very much came of it, so great. Didn't have to worry about it. Probably lost his turret before he used it, which does indeed make Molten Core significantly less scary. So, we're going in now. We have got not nearly as much time as them, obviously, but doesn't necessarily matter, and as you can see, we're going to be here for quite a while, so it didn't matter too terribly much. This game ends up going 6-4, one way or the other. I won't spoil the surprise. Also, by the way, you did have several questions in your email. I haven't forgotten them. It just makes more sense to answer them at the end because of the way the questions are. So, Hanzo has killed their Torbjorn and he's managed to throw his skill at Soldier's feet. We've also just managed to pick off their Orisa. So we really just want to go in right now. Now they've also lost their Lucio. Oh god, Winston's on us. Very scary, but most of their team is dead and we don't have to... We can just sort of GA away from him and we're not GAing into more danger, so we get away with it. Soldier's coming out with Tac Visor. I would just immediately break my beam and hide at that point. Because, like, he probably doesn't kill you. Like, it would be very surprising if he did. But you don't want to risk it at the same time. So as soon as I hear Tac Visor, I would just break my beam and hide behind this pillar. And just hope he doesn't know. Because, I mean, it would be astonishing if he did kill you. But at the same time, you want to minimize risk as much as possible. So... they have a Tracer now. They're switching to a bunch of stalling heroes, but look, Tracer has to recall, and it's already too late. By that point, the game is over. Round is over, not the game, before she even gets back. So, now we will be attacking again, because we finished with less time than them. All of the middle parts are edited out. Isn't it incredible? Don't have to skip forward on the timeline. Oh, so easy. So... we're attacking again. I believe we have the same team comp that we just attacked with. Yes, we do. I mean, it's the team comp that works, so it would be surprising if we changed that much. We do lag behind a little bit, which is kind of scary for this part of the map specifically. I mean, you usually want to be really far back, but it's kind of scary to be this far back during this part of the map, because the scariest part is going around this corner, because you can just kind of get fucked immediately upon coming around the corner. So, kind of want to stay more with your tank line during this part. God, my fucking hair is driving me insane. So, you usually want to stick more with your tank line during this part, because you want to try and get round the corner with as much safety as possible. We're playing Mercy, we don't want to get fucked as we're coming around the corner, so we're lagging behind a little bit here, and that's kind of scary, but we don't get punished for it, so awesome. But that's like the scariest part of the map. So we're hanging back really far right now. Winston's jumped in, and that's kind of a scary maneuver, because Winston's here, and I would be a little bit afraid of Winston forcing me further up the staircase, where there is an indeterminate amount of enemies right now. So it's a little bit scary to GA forward onto these people. And, like, Lucio's with him, so it's not like you should have to come over here to heal the Reaper that urgently. And it's not like I think you're gonna get punished for it in this position, but it's something you could have been punished for. And, that's a lot of what Mercy is about, making percentage-based plays, really. What is the most minimum risk I can put myself in? And that is, like, 1% more risk, which we generally want to cut down on. Doesn't matter. Reinhardt's gone forward and gotten killed by, Reaper, so that feels pretty bad, man. Now we don't have our main tank. Reaper also not looking like he's terribly long for the world right now, based on the way he was going, but he actually didn't. Oh, no, he did get killed. Never mind. Oh, I was about to say he didn't get killed. Commentator's curse, I suppose. Now Winston's coming at us. Our best person for killing a Winston is dead, but we can just GA to D.Va and get away. That's cool. Generally, not getting tased to death is a benefit when playing Mercy, I find. So this is good. We're sitting as far back as possible. Basically, the enemy can't see us. One of your questions is about positioning, and I think your positioning is, like, really good for the most part, because it's very rare the enemy team can actually see us, but when the enemy team does see us, it has often led to us dying, which is, you know, not exactly surprising. So, honestly, when I was watching this through earlier, I was thinking of if I might have just rezzed the Reinhardt immediately, because he got picked off before a fight actually breaks out. We elect not to, and we end up actually getting a far better res as a result, but I think I might have just rezzed the Reinhardt thinking, oh, our main tank got picked off, maybe I'll just res him to try and salvage this push. Because it didn't look like he was in a position where he would immediately get murdered again. But we end up getting a 3-man res instead, so, you know, shows me. What do I know? Now, fight broke out up here. Their Reaper used Death Blossom, but didn't actually get too terribly much done with it. Oh, he was right on top of our face right there. That's very scary, but he was getting very pressured, so it didn't matter too much at the time. I do think your positioning, for the most part, is really good. Now, this is the scary thing. The problem is with the way we go. If the health kit isn't there, we're definitely dead, right? And I've gone back, like, way too far again. It's so hard when your keyboard doesn't work properly. So the problem with going this way is that if the health kit isn't there, you are definitely fucked because you have isolated yourself with Winston. Turns out the soldier is also in here. And we did know a fight happened underneath us not that long ago, so it's not impossible that the health kit just wouldn't be there. And it turns out it wasn't there. So it's just kind of like, it's not a great position to be in because you're getting pressured by Winston, but you isolate yourself with the Winston, and if it's here, you probably get away with it, but it's not there, and Soldier happens to be behind you as well, so you're just definitely fucked because you're isolated. And it's not exactly a good position to be in, obviously. Being chased around by Winston isn't a good position, but that's the kind of position where really you just kind of hope your team actually helps you, because your only option to retreat is not that much safer because you end up isolating yourself. So you just kind of need them to help you in that position, or have someone in a convenient location that you can GA to them, but of course they weren't. So we've been forced off again, which is, you know, pretty bad, obviously. We're starting to run out of time, so we're starting to sweat a little bit at this point, but as we can see, we've got a lot more game to go yet. Isn't it a good thing we're only playing Mercy, so we don't have too many things to sit and agonize over for incredibly long, drawn-out periods of time, as I usually like to? Because being concise and to the point, what? Got no interest in that. Get that shit away from me. So we are going in now. Winston is behind us, which is obviously very scary. But at the same time, we're leaving him behind. We take the 2-man res right there. Yep, definitely. Would have also taken the 2-man res. Ooh, there's Reaper. Very scary, but he didn't notice us. And they've lost a lot of their team at this point, so things are looking pretty good for us, honestly. Probably wouldn't GA, because you could end up going, like, a little bit too far forward, and you don't really need to GA to get to that guy. Because, like, there's a lot of scary things in front of you. I don't think I would GA for fear of going, like, too far forward. But also we don't want this guy to die, obviously. But also, I don't want to die. I'm more important than that guy, because I'm playing Mercy. I'm a very selfish player, honestly. Though I find Mercy promotes this style of gameplay, because you have to value your own life far more than anyone else's. I mean, most supports do, but Mercy more than any other hero in the game. So I find she promotes some slightly unhealthy gameplay styles, but... which is basically like, fuck them, got mine, you know? So, Hanzo's over here, like, by himself, and Soldier is trying very hard to kill us right now. We were like, oh shit, Soldier's trying to kill us right there, and he's been driven off. Reaper's coming up behind us right now. So they just lost their Mercy, because Tracer picked her off. So we want to go in right now. Now they've lost 2 of their DPS as well. Things are looking pretty good. We're up on the high ground. They can't touch us. We've got our ultimate. Winston does notice us, and he comes up here to try and get us. Winston's doing a really good job this game of pressuring us. Because you notice that, like, all of our deaths and all of our unfortunate situations have been as a result of Winston pressuring us. He's actually playing this game really well. So I would have taken the ult right there. Like, just whatever you can get, because as soon as Reaper starts Death Blossoming next to you, you're gonna die. You're not gonna get back again if your team gets wiped. So I would just take it to save myself and res whoever I can get. Based on the fact I think if I die and this fight doesn't go very well, I probably won't get back again to try. So I'll just take whatever I can get. But yeah, that Winston is actually playing really well. Because, like, all of our deaths have basically been as a result of the Winston pressuring us. And he's been forcing us out of our nice, comfy back positions, you know. We would benefit a lot from somebody actually helping us, like, just sitting near us and babysitting us, basically. But, you know, now Winston has, picked off our Hanzo immediately. Reaper's making it really hard to help him by floating away from us. Soldier spotted us, pull out the gun, take some shots at him. Reaper miraculously didn't die. Isn't that absolutely incredible considering the position he was in? I find picking Symmetra very questionable because they've had a Winston this entire time, so I don't know why they would change off of a Winston. So I find Symmetra to be a very risky pick right here. It's very dangerous to go as forward as we did a couple of times here because it's a lot of fighting happening out here, you know? Like, I wouldn't GA up to that guy because you were still tethered to him and you just don't want to go that far forward because there's, like, a lot of scary shit out there. Then we GA forward again to try and help this guy, but oh, he died. Oh shit, their Reaper saw us as well, so now we're kind of scared about that one, obviously. This is the thing with this point. There's nowhere good to stand. If you're defending and you start getting pressured, the best you can do is huddle in this corner and just hope. And just hope. But we're slowly losing people. We're slowly getting pressured more and more. There's the train of thought that you should have probably res that person just to, cause you know you're gonna die, so you can res to save yourself. If you res and you save yourself, you can effectively add yourself to the list of people you've raised. Because if you were going to die, and you live as a result of using the raise, you have effectively raised yourself as well, even though you never died. But at the same time, the way the fight's going doesn't exactly look like it's going to turn out too well, so you are also probably better off holding your ultimate. I can see myself on some days of the week ulting there, and some days of the week not. There's also the argument that it was the Symmetra who has her ultimate, so if you raised her, she might have been able to put down the teleporter and reinforce your team as well. But that's also a bit of a tall order, probably considering the position we were in as well. But I can see that argument, though. Holding it is probably the better play, the probably wins more % of the time. So our Reinhardt's gone in too far, and there's nothing we can do to help him. Soldier tried to use Tac Visor, but he died. Very important, that soldier still has Tac Visor. He died so quickly, his voice line didn't finish. He either still has it, or he got a lot of it back. So he just got raised, so that's very scary. We need to be wary of that. And he does indeed just immediately put it back on again. So we are being pressured by Winston, and that forces us out of our nice comfy location, and we end up getting pushed out into Tac Visor. See, yeah, Winston playing really well, pushes us out of our comfy hidey hole into the Tac Visor, and we're like, oh shit, well, this is not very good for us now, is it? This is where, like, I would have probably already ulted, honestly, expecting to die. As soon as you see that change to 2, you slap that Q key. Cause things are going real bad right now. And if I think to myself, if I die here and don't res anyone, we might just lose this round. And that would be really bad with the timer situation. So as soon as you see that switch to 2, you slap that ult key and take what you can get. Didn't have the opportunity. I think that was in response to somebody, actually. Not really listening to the game. Well, I'm not listening to the people talking, because I find it difficult to listen to a conversation and also have your own conversation, even though I'm only really having it with myself, technically. So I would have just probably already taken the one person, expecting to die, and then been sad when I missed the second one. But basically, I think to myself, there's a strong possibility that if I die in res no one, we just lose the round, because I won't get back in time to try again. But we do manage to get out here to try again. Oh shit, that's real scary, but we managed to just hop back up out of the way. This is what I'm talking about with Mercy promoting kinda unhealthy gameplay. I detach my tether from this person. As soon as this happens, I stop healing because I want this person to die. Because I want to res 3 people instead of 2 people. Like, we come back out here and we attach to her. I just let her die and get the free man res instead, because then you heal her up to full. She gets into her mech anyway, because we're healing her, so it effectively is the same thing. But if I'm hiding out of the way and I'm like, I'm gonna use my res, if somebody's low HP, I let that person die, because then I push Q and I have healed them to full HP instead. Effectively the same thing has happened, but I find that is generally a better play than sort of healing somebody and hoping you can heal them through it while you're rezzing. So we've managed to fend them off, which is fantastic news. Maybe now that we've actually gotten some of our own momentum, we can actually stall them out. As we can see from the timer, and by the fact I spoiled the final score of the game, no, they get it in overtime. I think they have like 1 second to spare, but that gives both teams the time advantage anyway. The time boost, so it effectively is the same as getting it there in overtime. So now we actually have a shield generator as well. It's actually very annoying to break a shield generator on this map, because there's a big open space that you can't really go through just openly. You can't go through the open space openly. So it's very hard to actually break the shield generator if it's out of the way. Which, I mean, you know, not also hard to do, given the giant walls that are here. So this is a good map to have a shield generator on, because it's surprisingly hard to break it. So we lost our Reaper, but we traded for their Mercy, and we're much closer to our spawn, so this is definitely a beneficial trade for us. You don't really wanna trade, really, because it's better to just kill them, or like not lose your own person. Really, you don't want to really trade, but we have traded better, because we lost our DPS, but they lost their main healer, and our spawn is much closer. So any trades will benefit us naturally because of how close our spawn is, but they also lost their main healer, which is good for us as well. And they then elect to kind of keep going in as well, despite losing their main healer. So that's also good for us. However, our team ends up kind of splintering off, and our Symmetra also gets picked off, which is very sad, obviously. We don't like when people get picked off, usually. And now Soldier's using Tac Visor. It's a good thing that that dragon goes across the middle of the point, because that is probably the only reason we didn't get killed. We almost died anyway, so it's a good thing we got the shield generator for one thing, right? Because we had the extra HP to live through it. But if that dragon didn't go across the middle of the point, somebody probably just walks over and kills us, especially since Soldier was using Tac Visor. So, all good for us. So we take the one-man res onto D.Va. I wouldn't do that, because I look at the way that this fight's going. Basically, I see Reinhardt over there, and I think to myself, that Reinhardt is probably gonna die. Well, he's definitely gonna die, honestly. And these guys are kind of out of the way, but it's not impossible they die. Basically, I would wait to see if Reinhardt dies, which he is almost certainly going to, rather than taking the one-man res right there. Because we can see Reinhardt was definitely not long for this Earth. Did we have to res that person or they respawned, actually? Is that why we res them? Oh, that wasn't far enough back, I didn't actually see. Because that can, you know, make a difference. No, we got time. We could have waited for this guy to die. There's, you know, you gotta be pretty patient when you're playing Mercy. We could have exercised a slight bit of patience and also rezzed Reinhardt as well as D.Va, which is better than just D.Va, obviously. So now we're trying to get to this D.Va, that's not D.Va, that's Symmetra, and she has managed to survive against all odds, and now things are not actually looking so grim, because they're starting to lose momentum and our spawn is really close, so we're going to reinforce a lot faster than them. Great, we've already got 66% of our ult built up again off of the one fight, so that's great. They also used a couple of ultimates trying that. Now, we did see something right there. Oh my god, the key worked. Absolutely incredible. It didn't just jump back like 8 times, because they just pushed it on reflex. And then I thought to myself, oh, might go back to like the beginning of the fucking video now. That didn't happen. So, we say they don't have a Doomfist. So, the scary thing about Doomfist is he can one-shot you kind of out of nowhere. Not like 100% guaranteed, but he can one-shot you out of nowhere. So, now that we know they have a Doomfist, we gotta be watching out for that guy, because we don't want to just suddenly get one shot. So we gotta be watching out for that guy, and when we know he's coming, if we know he's coming from somewhere, we want to avoid standing next to any walls that he can punch us into. Basically we gotta be extra vigilant, because Doomfist is, very scary, since he can suddenly kill you. And there's not a lot you can do about it if you realize too late, because, when somebody's trying to hit you with their entire body, it tends to be a pretty easy skill shot to actually land, in my experience. So we have our shield generator again, which is good, obviously. 75% more 75%, holy shit. 75 more HP is really good. We have jumped off the high ground right there, and that's kind of scary, because if they kind of came in really suddenly and jumped over that cliff, we'd be in a pretty bad position. But that would require a very decisive movement from them, which I would not expect to happen. So their Winston's dead. This is fantastic news, seeing as he's been the one that's causing us trouble this entire time. I feel like their Winston has actually been doing, like, a lot of work, basically because he's led to us dying a lot of times. And usually if you can just reliably kill the Mercy, sick. Don't have to worry about anything for the next few seconds. If you can reliably kill Mercy, or lead to their Mercy dying, it's generally going to get you pretty far in life. And a lot of our deaths have been as a result of Winston. If you notice now that we've been getting pressured less by Winston, we aren't getting killed as much anymore. Isn't it so lovely? It's a lot harder for him to get to us now, because we're in this, we're on this point, they lost their momentum. Reinhardt just committed suicide. Again. Reinhardt clearly can't be trusted with his shift key. So, we can hear Doomfist charging up behind us. It's very scary, because we can get one shot by Doomfist. There is the line of thought here, by the way, that you should res the Reinhardt, because he got picked off before the fight started, and he is your main tank. I don't necessarily agree with that, because he looks like he's in a position where he'd probably get killed again fairly quickly. But, that is a line of thinking that I feel I should point out anyway, even though I personally wouldn't go for it. So we can hear Doomfist charging up behind us. Fortunately, D.Va got in the way, because he was actually coming right for us, it looks like. And he is still gunning for us. Punched us, but we didn't hit a wall, because we're in the open space. Awesome. So we can res this one person, but we feel like we can do a little bit better. These two people have died just far enough apart that we can't res both of them. So we end up coming back over here. Oh shit, oh fuck, oh no. As soon as I hear Tac Visor go on, I just res that one person, probably. 'Cause we're gonna get killed, really. And I, again, follow the train of logic of, I might not get a second chance to res somebody. So I would have gone for the res right there. Though the train of thought of hold it, because you can probably get out here and try again, also valid. As you can see, we are gonna get out here. Though we don't actually get a good res, because most of our team has respawned, and we're just like, oh, I'm just gonna res this one person because they're really close to it. I would have just resed as soon as I heard Tac Visor being like, I'm fucked. just gonna see what we can do with this one. Basically, if I am certain I'm going to die, and I think we're gonna lose the fight, I'll just take what I can get, 9 times out of 10 as mercy. Because you don't want to be the support that held their ultimate in the fight that we lost. Even if it forces you to take like a not fantastic res. Generally, I'll follow the line of thought of, will probably not get back to this fight to try again, so I'll just take what I can get. Unless I know, like, for certain, it's not gonna work. Like, if everybody's already dead and I can res one person or I'm gonna die, yeah, probably not worth resing that one person, but, you know, if it's reasonably close, I'll take what I can get. So, things still not going great. Doomfist used his ult right in front of us. Very scary. Didn't hit us. However, things still not exactly going very well. As you can say, it's probably not too hard to imagine that we actually do, in fact, go to the next round now. And we do just get clonked right in the skull as we try to touch it. We're dead. Oh no. Again, by the time it's already, like, we get forced into a really bad position. We get pulled into the graviton, tac visor happens, or bad times all around. So there's, you know, you can go back and try and find, like, the point before that, where you could have avoided getting pulled, like, into the position where you end up in the graviton, but, it would have almost certainly involved some counterintuitive gameplay that no one would have done in the moment, considering the way that fight went. And, you know, there's a certain degree to which, you know, yeah, hindsight's 20/20. We're not all clairvoyant. We can't all avoid these situations. I would have just gone for the Symmetra res and hoped for the best. And probably the same thing would have happened. It's important to remember that sometimes you just have to do the best you can. And sometimes the best you can is just not enough. So, now, we've got a minute each. We don't exactly have a lot of time to work with right here. They've chosen Mei, because they're like, yeah, we're gonna just stall it out on this point. So, if you remember, I said the game goes 6-4, so the spoiler is at this point that we have to be the team that goes 6, because if we went 4, the other team couldn't get to 6, they could only get to 5. So, we have managed to get in. Our Hanzo has picked off their soldier right at the start of the fight, which is fantastic news. It's extra fantastic news, because don't forget, their other DPS is Mei, because we've seen Mei using stuff. So that means their team does, like, no damage anymore. Because Mei, while good at killing people, is bad at doing damage. There's a difference between these two things. So, it's really good for us that they lost their only actual DPS hero, because that means we get to go in here and just start fighting, and it's really hard for them to drive us off, because their only DPS is Mei. She's the only one that's actually doing damage to us right now. And their Orisa, of course, doesn't want people to be right on top of her, so we just get to roll right over them, basically entirely because our Hanzo picked off their soldier right at the start, so they just didn't have enough damage to fend us off anymore. Which is the scary thing about having one of your DPS be Mei. It puts a lot of burden on the other DPS to actually do damage, because Mei doesn't do a lot of damage. She is good at killing people, she is not good at doing DPS. So, we want to try and, like, straight snowball this. We've got res, so that's great. We haven't got a lot of time. Tracer used her pulse bomb, didn't actually kill anybody. I don't think I would perform that maneuver, because we can see Winston in the doorway. And I would be very scared of getting killed. And I don't want to die right now, because we're only going to get one chance at this fight, and ergo one chance at this res. I would be very scared to pull off that maneuver, and I don't think I would have done it. But we end up getting away with it, because only Winston was actually there, and the rest of the fight is going really well for us. A lot of our team nearly dead, but none of them actually die. And we have, in fact, managed to just snowball over the point with ultimates. Exactly as you would expect to after such a successful first point. And is in fact what they did to us right in the very first round. Is it how quickly the turns table. So, spoiler warning, we win this game, as you may have inferred from earlier spoilers. So now, we only have to try and hold them off. It's going to be very hard for them to capture both points, as long as they don't snowball over us again. You usually expect to win from this position. So we have also gone Mei, but we have more DPS. Because we also have Hanzo and Reaper. And Symmetra. So we're the only healer right now, which is very scary. But they also are probably pretty tilted by this point, honestly. So It's not, you know, I'm honestly feeling pretty good about this, even if we're the only healer. It's not exactly terrible to be the only healer as Mercy anyway. Seeing as the other healer is usually something like Lucio or Zenyatta, which doesn't usually bring too much healing anyway. So we haven't had to really worry about very much so far. We kind of haven't really seen the enemy team, which is really good. You know, that means we haven't been in line of sight of the enemy team. That's a little scary, because we do dash into some people, but it's only D.Va as well, so it's also not very scary. Yeah, we win this round really decidedly, you might have noticed. The enemy team, definitely very tilted. They don't come in very coordinated at all, very staggered, we never even really saw them. Easy money, basically. Do we see the play of the game? The replay? We do see the play of the game. What's the play of the game gonna be? It was a really long game, trying to remember what happened. Probably Reaper. It's gotta be Reaper from, like, the first point, right? Because he killed, like, half our team by himself. Well, not, like, by himself, but, like, he got, like, a lot of kills right there. It's gotta be, like, Reaper. No, it's Reinhardt. Very surprising, actually. Why is it Reinhardt? Oh, he's just gonna hit a lot of people in the middle of this fight. I see. Yeah. Yep, just do 180 over and over again. Reaper definitely deserved it more than him. So, we're going to go over to the email now, because it had several questions, and they made a lot more sense to answer at the end of the video, rather than at the start of the video. So, one question was, what improvements can I make with my positioning? I feel like your positioning is fine. I didn't notice any really big issues. I feel like all things that led to our death were more a result of us getting forced by the enemy team, rather than us positioning badly to begin with. Because when we aren't getting pressured by the Winston, basically the enemy team can't see us. We're standing really far back. It's really hard for the enemy team to see us. We don't come forward aggressively very many times, like overly aggressively very many times. Basically it felt like us dying was mostly a result of Winston playing really well, rather than us playing badly. I thought your positioning was fine, and I never really noticed any particularly big issues with your positioning. The only thing I can really think to say is, like, try and think a little bit further ahead, because I think at the time, like, on the first round, where we jumped off the high ground, and that basically led to us dying, it's like, that could have been avoided. And it's like, kinda hindsight is 2020, but also, I don't think it's anything too counterintuitive to be like, I don't want to go off the high ground. I can tell this McCree to come back so I don't have to come off the high ground. And that death could have possibly been avoided, and maybe it would have gone completely differently, since that happened right at the start of the round. Of the game, in fact. So, but no, I don't think there are that many improvements you can make with your positioning. I thought your positioning was pretty good. If there were any really big issues with your positioning, I didn't see them. Is my GA usage alright? Yeah. There was like the one time we went on the Reinhardt who was like mostly alive, and I thought that was a little bit aggressive, but Winston, we also found out a couple of seconds later that Winston was coming up behind us, so we would have likely done the same thing anyway, but I thought that maneuver was a little bit aggressive. And there were a couple of times I would have been hesitant to do it. Like, when we walked past the Winston. Well, that's not even really GA usage, really, because we used GA to get away from it. There were a couple of times I would have been a little bit hesitant to use the GA, to, like, close in on, like, our Reaper at that one point. But I don't think that was, like, an objectively wrong thing or anything. It's just I would have been hesitant to do that. Because I'm a big bitch, basically. So I think your GA usage is alright. The biggest thing is that you cancel it. Like, you GA cancel, which is like the big thing, because it's like very rare you ever actually finish a GA, honestly. So, yeah, I think your GA usage is perfectly fine. Never noticed any issues with it, really. What else do you think I could have done to help the team? That's very difficult, because I feel like more than you having been able to do something else to help the team, it was the team could have done more to help you. Because, as I said, I think most of the reasons we died was because Winston was doing a really good job of pressuring us. So, I'll say maybe you could have tried to get more coordination with your team to kind of try and get the pressure off of you, which would have probably made these fights easier if you were being less pressured. So, you know, I'll say try and coordinate with your team a little better. But I don't think there was really that much more you could have done to help the team in this game. I do feel like we played about as well as we could have, and I just feel like the enemy Winston played really well also, which forced our hand in a lot of situations. It is important to remember that sometimes it's not you playing well, sometimes you playing badly. Sometimes it's the enemy team playing really well. I think the Winston played really well in this game. I think Winston was their MVP, honestly. So, and the final question is, this one is kind of odd and an odd and tricky question, but would it be possible to give me a prediction on where you could see me ending up SR-wise, low end and high end? Diamond Masters. Like, I watch you playing this game, and I forgot to, like, get my friend who also plays Mercy to watch this, but, like, she watched the other game you played, and she was like, he basically plays like me. And I was like, basically plays like me. I'm in Masters. My friend is in Diamond. She could be in Masters, played more frequently. So, Diamond Masters, I would say. Like, you could, if you scrubbed the names off of this game and showed it to me and said, this was a game you were in, I would probably go, oh, I don't remember this game. Yeah, sure. I'd believe it. Yeah, low end Diamond, high end Masters. Probably like, not low Diamond, like mid Diamond, Masters, somewhere in Masters. That's a little bit harder to say. Is really good. Your positioning's really good. Enemy team can very rarely see you. You're very safe, very out of the way. Only go forward when you have to. Very involved in the game. I said this last time we watched your game as well. Very involved in the game. It never really feels like you're doing nothing. You're never, like, hiding unnecessarily, where if you watch, like, a lower SR Mercy player, they are hiding all the time and, like, really afraid to go out and do stuff. But you're, like, always involved in the game, and you're also always positioning really safely, really out of the way. And that's, like, the biggest thing with Mercy. Safe positioning. So there's that. You're never really not doing anything, so that's good. Yeah, GA's fine. You know, like, I am a believer that, how many people you res has, like, a direct correlation to how well you play during the game. Because I do think Mercy's ult is exactly like everyone else's. In that, everyone's like, I want to use this ult as quickly as possible so that I can start, like, building up the next ultimate. So, because if you ult more times in a game, you generally win more games, because you have used your ultimate more times. I think Mercy is exactly the same way. So I think you could probably ult in more situations, just like, tempo-wise, or just like, this is the best I'm gonna get, so I might as well take it and hope for the best, really. Because we didn't really res very many times during this game, and I do believe that Mercy's ult, despite being a little bit unusual compared to everyone else's, I follow the same train of thought. It was like, you kind of want to use it as many times as possible still, because it's also charges really fast, so it's very forgiving if you use it in a situation where you didn't have to. It's just like an extra safety net, I tend to find. So, yeah, Diamond Masters. Really good at Mercy. Probably would be really good at Zenyatta and Ana as well, seeing as they are also both largely about safe positioning. There's obviously, more to it than that for Zenyatta and Ana, but those are also the very large part of playing those heroes. So you probably would also be really good at them, assuming, you know, you don't have, like, the worst accuracy in the universe or something like that. Really good at Mercy. Diamond Masters. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I didn't answer any of these questions adequately, you know, let me know, and I'll try and expand further. And I hope you found the video helpful.